I find that on this channel I talk about a lot of the same games over and over again, and I also find that I make the same jokes over and over again.
Is this the part where I throw the brick?
No, I think we'll skip that today.
Oh. Okay.
I'm trying to work on this, but certain games are great for a reason, and games that are similar but not quite as impactful just often aren't worth mentioning. As such, I wanted to find a method to talk about more niche indie games while also highlighting the experiences that brought a lot of people to this channel. So I'm starting a new series called The Rec Room. In this series, I will take big games that everyone's heard of, both AAA and indie, and recommend lesser heard of counterparts that I have enjoyed but never really found a reason for making a full video on. So today on The Rec Room, let's talk about some games to try if you like Celeste.
Okay, brick now.
Symphonia is a game about music, and music makes me lose control of my bowels. I talked about Symphonia for a Next Fest back in the fall, but I played the full game after it came out and I really enjoyed it. Its platforming is super smooth, constantly getting you in rhythms of floating through the air and smashing into the ground, your bowstring building momentum as you bound off of drums and swing through gears. The game is about chaining together these movements, much like some of the later moments in Celeste as you narrowly avoid spikes and platform up to hard to reach places. The movement is fluid and reactive, but the art style and the soundtrack are something to behold. The visual style of this game is based off of the Baroque period, with the warm light shining through cogs and gears onto ornate wood design. It's beautiful, and it's probably the most unique thing about this game. But getting to play games like Celeste is a prize. Tell them what they've won, Little John.
Suffering.
Laika is a heartbreaking game fashioned off of a post-apocalyptic world, something akin to Mad Max as you drive around on your motorcycle gun in hand. The platforming, while hard, doesn't necessarily match Celeste's. It's a lot more focused on the act of driving your motorcycle around and using it as a tool to combat enemies. Where Laika reminds me of Celeste is in its focus on story. There just aren't that many 2D platformers that put their story at the forefront of their design, and Laika and Celeste both carry emotion in a way a lot of other games in the genre just can't. From the very opening of this game, you realize how much of a heart-wrenching experience you're in for. And while it is much darker than Celeste's story, its focus on connecting you to the main character makes this experience sing. But you know what's better than two games that are like Celeste? A weapon harnessing the power of the sun, able to vanquish my enemies so that I may rule the land with an iron fist, unable to be deposed. Or three games that are like Celeste. Next, I wanted to highlight a game that hasn't been released yet, but has a demo up that you can play right now. Constance is a beautiful Metroidvania with a heavy focus on platforming, as it sees you using your paintbrush to dive into walls and maneuver through the environment. While both Constance's visual aesthetic and its gameplay have some reminiscent elements of Hollow Knight, I think its more focused design around movement and navigating spaces makes it play more like Celeste. It definitely teeters on the edge of both though. One of the key similarities between Constance and Celeste is the navigation of mental health. I think this is an important element to mention about both games, although at this point I'm not quite sure how deep Constance will dive into it. Regardless, Constance has a lot going for it. One of my favorite little features the demo had was this photo mode, in which you could screenshot an area that you're in and it would put it on the map. This works really well in a Metroidvania, as if you get stuck on a puzzle and don't have the ability to progress, you can take a photo and come back once you have that ability. It's things like this that give me a lot of hope for Constance when it fully launches later in 2025. But finally, we have Pepper Grinder. Pepper Grinder is yet another Next Fest game that has made it into far too few libraries. Its story is not nearly as strong as that of Celeste, but its gameplay is the same sort of tight reactive action boasted by the best in the genre. Cutting into and out of the sand, flying up in the air, and chaining together movements feel so good in this game, as the developer finds a myriad of methods to explore this core idea. Yes, at first it's a lot of sand, but eventually you use a drill to pilot a vehicle, dash through water, and fly high up into the air using momentum. While a lot of platformers create new mechanics and use them for a few moments and then throw them away, Pepper Grinder really dives deep on this one thing, but it never slightly gets old. The boss fights here are also a standout feature, as they all incorporate this mechanic in a super fascinating and fun way. This game may not change the genre forever, but it's 6 hours of absolute fun, and its art style and gameplay both do an excellent job of scratching that Celeste itch. Celeste is a beautiful game about about finding yourself, about conquering fear, and about friendship. These games aren't Celeste, but they're great games nonetheless, and absolutely worth experiencing if you haven't had the chance yet. I hope this video was able to shine a light on something new for everyone to try out. There are a lot of games out there and a lot of effort put into the design of each of them. As time goes on, I hope this series can highlight just how many great indie games and developers there are. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye now.